Recording in progress.
No man in the world. No man in the world.
The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls. It's women and girls.
We create
the smart, powerful, creative, accomplished young women.
We can fight.
I'm here because of you. I'm here because girls like you inspire me. Many of these girls have faced unthinkable obstacles just to attend school. Any society is how it treats its women and girls.
Won't stand still.
Your story is my story. Your story is my story.
Buckle up, buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. I'm Liz, one of your hosts. My co-host, Maria, is joining me by Zoom. How are you, Maria?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Liz?
I'm here. So, first off, I want to thank all of our listeners who donated to our show during the fund drive last week. We really appreciate it. If you didn't get a chance to donate last week, and you still want to donate, you can go to WMNF.org and make arrangements there. But we really, really appreciate your support. And today we have a bunch of things to talk about. But if you want to give us a call at any point during the conversation, dial 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. What's the top of your mind this morning, Maria?
Oh, wow. I'm slowly recovering from a great school board meeting last night. People showed up. That's what's on the top of my mind. We had a school board member, one out of all of them, that spoke up for freedom of speech and told the truth. And it's amazing to see how many full-throated cowards you have and you're surrounded by, even in what we call a blue county, if you will. But it was fortifying to see people come out in protest and in support of school board member Edwin Ferguson, and supporting our teachers and supporting our freedom of speech. So that's what's on the top of my mind.
Okay. So I have a lot of things on. I mean, it's everywhere you look, there's something to talk about. And it's like, oh my gosh, we could sit here and comment in real time and still just go 24/7 pretty much. One thing I do want to talk about is resistance, because Portland is doing it right. I mean, you have photos of agents and police on sniper patrol on top of buildings, and then you look down and it's all a bunch of people in inflatable costumes, chiefly the frog, but there was one picture I saw, and they had an inflatable Cartman from South Park, and so everybody on the thread was going nuts about that. It's like, oh, where can I find one? And I'm like, so the inflatable costume industry is going to make quite a bit of money off of this. And so, but it's not, because the ICE always claims that they shoot people in the face because they feel threatened. How are you going to feel threatened by an inflatable frog, And so it's like an unwritten commentary on the absurdity of the whole situation. What do you think about that?
I mean, first of all, if you feel threatened, maybe you're in the wrong line of work.
Thank you.
Okay. And then we want to talk about violation of people's rights and things like that. These police officers, I don't care who you are, you cannot be covering your face.
Exactly.
You cannot be covering your face. So I'm happy that the people of Portland not only are resisting, but are finding humor and joy in the resistance.
Exactly.
I think that's an important thing. And I honestly think that it's the only thing that makes it sustainable, because we could lose our minds out here in these streets every day.
Yeah. And that's something that we have talked about from almost the beginning of this regime is you can't lose hope. You have to find a bright spot. You have to laugh or else you'll cry. And so Portland took all that and ran with it. And so I was thinking, for those of you who don't know, there is on Saturday, the No Kings protests. If you want to go to one, you can go Google No Kings and it'll tell you exactly where the protests are. But I was thinking, okay, so I don't want to copy Portland and be an inflatable frog, but I got pirate costumes. So since it's Tampa, if maybe all the protesters came out in pirate costumes, that could be our little niche.
I think that would be fun. That would be fun.
Without the swords, no weaponry, maybe a parrot, but not swords, because you don't want to give them any excuse to shoot you with. I mean, they shoot clergy in the face with pepper balls. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is outrageous. Somebody kneeling down, praying, gets shot in the face with a pepper ball. Who would have thought, And so...
But that's their thing. Like, the cruelty knows no bounds.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hauling children out of their homes naked because you're doing an ICE raid in Chicago. I mean, that was horrific, where you have an armed contingent storming an apartment building and pulling people out of bed. And I mean, those kids are going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives. And you don't hear much about it. Another thing you don't hear much about is, all right, last week we talked about how Trump and Hegseth spent millions of dollars bringing all these generals in to give them a quote-unquote pep talk. So Hegseth then turns around to the media pool at the Pentagon and says, okay, if you're going to stay here, you have to agree to these conditions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it was basically just, squelching any kind of reporting that they don't want. If it's not propagandized, they don't want it, in other words. And 50 plus media folks who had been in the Pentagon press pool forever, walking out with boxes and leaving all their stuff behind pretty much, except what they could carry. You don't hear much about that in the news. So, I mean, they're actively squashing freedom of speech every single day. And the only outlets that we're going to have for free speech are like, underground systems of reporting, because certainly the big networks don't want to get into that and call it out like they should, because money. What do you think, Maria?
I mean, there's always going to be one surly hour a week on Thursdays. for freedom of speech.
Yes.
Everyone's just going to have to rely on us to do the deep dive and do the research, you know?
Right.
But I honestly think that we are at this inflection point in media right now where people are going to be migrating to, just because of their inherent curiosity, they're going to be migrating to independent sources for information and news. And you and I, Donna, we already do that now anyway, right? Like, we don't show up here without having read volumes of different sources of information, and to be informed, just to be, it's part of our mental health exercise is to make every effort to be informed. So I do think that part of it is like thinking back around like history in the 1930s, and like all of this stuff has been tried before.
Right.
And at the end of the day, people do not comply. Some will. But as a society, we do not comply. We will always be curious. We will always be seeking. And that is just our nature. So, I mean, I think it's if it weren't so dangerous, it would be laughable, right? Like that. You want to quash any form of information that comes out that can be objective, that doesn't comply with your political ideology. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Right. Let's talk to DeAndre and Brandon. Hi, DeAndre.
Hey, good morning. I just realized something last night that it makes me wonder, like, what is the triggering and what is the mechanism really that would bring the Congress and the judicial branch up against the executive branch for like things that have happened in the past as a result of precedent, like racism, all the kinds of racism that could happen as a result of Jim Crow happened. Before that, there was slavery. Last night I learned that the White House basically erased the mechanisms for triggering examination of civil rights offenses or something to that effect back in March in the military. No, segregation. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So they basically allow forms of segregation by contractors in the military, which leaves me questioning, like, the entire military at this point.
Right.
This is really dangerous. And this is back in March. This was reported on.
And how long do you think it's going to be until that trickles down to the actual troops? We're going to have black troops and white troops, and they're not going to be together.
Society, like hospitals, grocery stores, these places where we expect services, churches, for goodness sake. And I'm agnostic. But one place I don't want to see that nationalism is in churches, which
exactly
of course we see all the time. But thank you. I just wanted to point that, like, highlight out really quick. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAndre. All right, we got Mike in Sarasota. Hi, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Let me get you on regular phone. So maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this is before the marathon, so I couldn't call back during the marathon. I called in, and it was the discussion about whether it was okay for a white person to offer an opinion about whether racism had occurred in any particular event. And in 2 or 3 weeks ago, I mentioned that on any racial issue, there were black people on either side. So no matter how you define right, some black people on that issue, you would have to consider to not be right. And I'm happy to report that your main host, Liz, said something which I thought was very nice and true. She allowed that everyone can be wrong. And I think that's great progress, because if everyone can be wrong, this means that even a black woman can be wrong on the issue. Now, she didn't take the obvious next step, and she never said that everyone can be right. So, but this is a process, and I believe we're making progress. Now, even after all that was said, there was still static from some of your other hosts about whether or not a white man can offer an opinion about whether a specific incident was racist. And so I'd just like to offer a little objection so I can understand what they're saying. I'm going to offer a little example. A few years ago, when Tom Brady was quarterback of the Bucs, there was an incident in a football game when a black receiver, Antonio Brown, became angry over not being used enough, and he walked off the field during the middle of the game, hurling his equipment in the stands. Now, after the game, the Bucs coach announced that Brown was fired from the Bucs. Now, later on, a discussion erupted, as you might imagine, and on Facebook, some local Tampa people, and some who you know, claimed that this firing was racist, that the NFL was acting like a plantation system, with white owners abusing black workers.
Well, it is.
Okay.
If there ever was a plantation system, I think the NFL is it,
Okay. Well, hang on. I'm not going to ask you to defend that. I responded claiming that this particular incident, I mean, maybe the NFL is, but this particular incident was not obviously racist, because there was no evidence that this black player had been treated any differently than white players in similar situations. And of course, this black player, who is, by the way, was making hundreds
Okay,
of thousands
we're going way off track. Get to the point and let's do it.
Okay, I'm getting to the point right now. So I'm not going to put you on the spot by asking you to take sides in this debate. But I do want to tell you ask you why it's wrong for me to question whether or not this is racism or not. This particular incident.
Throwing the gear in the stands and walking off the field?
No. What they claimed was racist was the coach firing the player because he did that.
Yeah. You think if Tom Brady had done that, he'd have been fired?
I do believe that's true.
No way. All right. So we have a disagreement. We can all be wrong. We can all be right. Well, no, we can't all be right, because if somebody's right, somebody's wrong.
We can't all be right? You're saying that a white man can't be right? Is that what you're saying?
I did not say that at all.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
all right. Let me let you go, Mike. Talk to you later. Right. All right. So that's apparently Mike got upset over something we said weeks ago and calls in every week.
He's still holding on to it.
Yeah, he's nursing that grudge hard. So let's talk to Sarah in Tampa. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. I just wanted to say how impressed I am with you and the show, that you give more airtime and more acceptance to contrary views than Fox News would give to either one of you.
Oh, yeah, totally. Fox News.
Simon and Mr. What is it? The guy that just was on the phone?
Mike from Sarasota.
Yeah, Mike doesn't know the behind the scenes of what that quarterback put up with that led him to leave the field. None of us do.
Exactly.
But I feel pretty certain that it was more than just not being able to play in that particular game.
Yes. Thank you.
It seems like a really simplistic perspective that the picture we see is the whole picture. It's never the whole picture.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's an important concept for all of us to remember.
Right.
Totally. And I just, I listen to you give Mr. Anti-Vax and Simon and all these people airtime with their, what views that I don't agree with. And I just laugh because, the contrary views that a lot of us have in relationship to Simon and Mr. Anti-Vax would get no airtime. On mainstream media. So I just really want to compliment you that you guys You keep it open. You keep it fair. You do rein people in. Tell them to land the plane, and I'm going to land this plane by just saying that I really think that it is important for people to not fall for the picture that they see that this quarterback was taken out of the game and was fired. There has to be, and there is, a backstory. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But it's just, we have to get over this simplistic, I know the whole story. I know what happened.
Exactly.
So, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, Gary in Largo. Hi, Gary.
Hey, thank you as always for having a great show. The call screener said that you were focused on racism issues today, so I'll be really brief.
Well, let me make a correction there because we're talking about resistance and crazy things going on in the world. But okay.
Good. So the first thing is I noticed that the mainstream so-called liberal media, including Huffington Post, etc., haven't mentioned Saturday's No King protests at all.
Yeah.
How strange.
Exactly. Well, and that's what I was saying earlier, Gary, is all these news outlets are erring on the side of caution, extreme caution, and not talking about it.
Oh, so you yeah, I see what you're saying. So now that Trump and his people have declared war on the media and on the resistance,
yep,
they are afraid that if they in any way promote No Kings, then they'll be tagged as promoting the insurrection.
Yes.
Yeah. I got it.
They will be Antifa rags. Yeah, pretty much.
Antifa, which is not an organization and does not exist in a formal way.
Right.
The second thing I can say is, I'm not going to say how I know this personally, but joining the Ukraine Foreign Legion, if you're between the ages of 18 and 60, is a wonderful way to find meaning and purpose, help the Ukrainian people, defeat Putin, and get skills that, God forbid, you might have to use in the United States someday.
All right. Thanks so much for calling, Gary. All right. Let's talk to Howard in Clearwater. Hi, Howard.
Good morning. Nice to hear you back on the radio again. Great job with the fundraising last weekend. You guys killed it.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, glad to participate. I'm calling in somewhere, except for that. I thought what message I want to get, edit it, slim it down to 90 seconds or less, and go from there. I think a lot of your callers probably could benefit from doing that instead of just starting to rant and rave and go off track and go sideways. You know, you guys have a lot of calls coming in. It's a busy show, and I appreciate your patience with the callers, but I think you do a much better job by pre-editing what they have to say.
Ah, okay.
That's all I wanted to mention.
So you're telling the callers to make like an elevator speech and then come on. Yeah. That's never going to happen, Howard.
I know I do. I do it myself. I'm disciplined that way. Type it into a document. Say it back to yourself. Set a timer and see how long you're going to talk for. And this is not a debate show.
Mm-hmm.
People need to get their points across quickly. 90 seconds and start winding down. And I just say land the plane in less than 2 minutes because there's a lot of things going on.
Right.
Your patience collectively is wonderful. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Howard, and thank you for your support. All right, we have Joe in Venice. Hi, Joe.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you for the show.
Thank you for calling.
I always look at the end game. The end game is Trump wants to be king and no elections in 26 or whatever is coming up here.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, he needs violence on the streets so he can cancel everything and be king. And
exactly.
He doesn't care if it comes from the left or the right, as long as there's violence and he can get the troops out. And don't be surprised, and there's going to be more martyrs, and don't be surprised if some crazy from either, I'll just say from the right, does something that look like he's from the left.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, they've already done that. Joe, and like remember when there was the looting and rioting, and it turned out it was like police officers going and busting windows and stuff and blaming it on the protesters?
Well, Black Lives Matter in Minneapolis, I think they showed that the gentleman that burned down the police station was a white guy.
Right.
Hard to believe.
So, yeah.
Hard to believe, Bob. That's what I always say. Okay, that's fine. That's all I'm saying. The end game is Trump wants to be king. He'll do anything.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling, Joe.
Okay.
All right, let's talk to Dave in Brandon. Hi, Dave.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
First thing I'd like to talk a little bit about protests. And first thing is for anybody, if you don't know what to do, how to resist what's going on, they should donate money to WMNF because you guys are a center of resistance.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Randy will be thrilled to hear that. Yes.
So when you go to these protests, you know, there's the talk of the violence. There's only violence. It depends on the confrontation. Like if you're protesting, if you confront ICE, then you are confronting the most powerful entity. So they're going to fight back. So that's where you get violence from that. Now, as far as in Tampa, what I've seen is there's this relationship with the Tampa police where they don't really confront protesters. They kind of let people do what they want. So when people go to No Kings rallies here, you pretty much go anywhere you want and do anything. Police presence is way in the background, and there's not much chance of violence here. So you have to judge where your area is, what your police let you do, and how far you can go. And then ultimately, if there is a confrontation, they usually will warn you that you're doing something and then you need to stop doing something. So everybody kind of has a chance to back away from the situation if it gets extreme.
All right. Thanks for that, Dave.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye. And he does have a point. I've been to lots of protests in Tampa, and the cops usually stay far to the side and just watch. I haven't seen them busting heads or anything like that. So I do agree with that statement. And they don't interfere with you. You know, they'll say hello and so. Now they also have undercover agents in the crowd playing like they're protesters. So, and those are kind of easy to spot if you know what you're looking for. Let's talk to Chris in Clearwater. Hi, Chris.
Good morning. I'm talking about being concerned that Trump's going to crack down on speech. And Pam Bondi, if you remember, September 17th after Charlie Kirk's murder, said that if you engage in hate speech, if it harms somebody, we will hunt you down. And what that hate speech, if folks may not be aware of, is something that might offend somebody, like we see in the UK now, where people are being arrested for social media posts where they've hurt somebody's feelings. And I encourage folks to check out a Newsweek article also the same day that Pam Bondi made that outrageous statement entitled "The List of Supreme Court Hate Speech Precedents as Pam Bondi Wants Crackdown" by Mandy Tahiri, Newsweek, September 17th. So what I see is the right-leaning and the independent folks have always said there's no such thing as hate speech in this country, as even Charlie Kirk said. And I think that the left-leaning folks ought to unite on that and understand that most of us don't believe the official narrative behind Charlie Kirk's murder. And, I'm still concerned that the government, which should be only protecting speech, was not, and supported by the Supreme Court case back in June 2024, 6-3 decision, Murphy versus Missouri, where Biden administration was pressuring social media networks to ban those who are dissenting, like doctors, against the COVID narrative. I say, you see 4 out of 5 doctors agree on something. Look at what that 5th doctor says, and you'll probably notice he'll be able to debate all the other 4 doctors quite effectively. And I can't find any doctor who's been banned by these social networks, who was not correct in trying to save lives, because during COVID, they're just...
Don't go there. Don't go there. I know where you're going.
I'm pointing out that there are preventive and therapeutic measures other than just the jabs that they were trying to get into people's arms.
We're not going to be.
Why can't I go there?
Because, Chris, we've talked about this before. We are We are scientifically minded people on this show.
Sure.
The hosts are scientifically minded. We are not anti-vaxxing in any kind of way. So because the research shows vaccines save lives. So that's why we don't go there. But I have to let you go because Art's been on hold for...
It was always going to find a way to get there, though.
All right. Thanks,
always
Chris.
Find a way to get there.
All right. Art in Lakeland.
Gotta admire the tenacity.
Oh, he's tenacious as you can be. Oh, my gosh.
Hey, I just got a simple question. I hope it doesn't start a conspiracy theory. But all these agents that are wearing masks, do you think it could possibly be that half of them may be Proud Boys and Oath Keepers?
Of course.
More than half.
Probably most, I would say more like 90%, probably, because, they don't.
So we could actually have insurrectionists arresting immigrants.
Oh,
100%.
Absolutely. We are.
What a sorry state we're in.
Exactly. So,
Have a great day.
You too, Art. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Something that one of the callers mentioned about, free speech and you're not seeing things. Let's talk about hate speech. Let's talk about the young Republicans who got busted. They were in a group chat and the group chat got leaked and it was hair-raising.
It was vile. It really was. Yep.
And so now they're like, well, then there's no good reason to be talking racist talk on an open forum. And it's like, if you were doing
I think the good reason is that it eventually exposes you for who you really are.
Well, there you go.
So it served a purpose, you know.
But if they had their way, it never would have been leaked. And they would just be fomenting this racism amongst themselves. And it's like, that's how you know when somebody is outwardly racist. It's like, okay, I got you. You've identified yourself. You're not walking around, being polite and not showing us who you are. Yep. Another thing too was Trump gave Charlie Kirk the Medal of Freedom posthumously. And I'm like, the Medal of Freedom hasn't been any good since he gave it to Rush Limbaugh. So, all this performative nonsense. And yet, we still don't have the Epstein files. And we still don't have the congressional members seated because Mike Johnson won't open the floor. So what do you know about that, Maria?
He won't open the floor. He's not holding votes just as a tactic to prevent the Arizona Congresswoman from being seated. They are actually looking at the state's attorney general is looking at a lawsuit to force her being seated. Like, we know that as much as Mike Johnson wants to deny it, we know that the reason for it is that she is the one vote that opens up the floodgates to have the Epstein files released, right? And it's interesting that all things keep pointing back to the Epstein files. I am fascinated now more than ever, right? And I live here. I live in Palm Beach County, where this man perpetrated his crimes, right? And when there's so much effort put into blocking this, you've got to wonder, what is the damning evidence that's in there?
And exactly, because, I mean, if Trump was mentioned once or twice, they wouldn't be concerned about it in the least. But, I mean, the whole, so it's probably not only Trump, it's probably other high-ranking Republican officials who are mentioned in there, and people that they don't want us to know about. But, you know, here we are sitting around like, where's the Epstein files? Y'all are doing all this stuff to distract us. And yet our purpose, we want to see the Epstein files. So, again, congressional Democrats, what are they doing? Nothing. Exactly. Crickets. I've lost hope that any of them are going to be the light bearers in the whole situation. We have a text here that says, remember, don't block the streets during the No Kings protest because drivers in Florida can hit you with no repercussions. That is true and a valid consideration. This one says, very offensive how these dishonest callers try to insert anti-vax narratives in their comments in a deceptive way. RFK Jr. and his brainworm are their heroes. Oh my gosh. I always see like the GIF where there's RFK and there's the worm's coming out of his head like it's an apple, you know?
That is hilarious.
All right. Eduardo in Tampa. How are you, Eduardo? Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I'm inside of a store. Yeah, this is Eduardo, formerly of Chicago. I got a question about No Kings Day on Saturday. I listen to a lot of the Chicago Raiders still, and there was no mention about the No Kings Day on Saturday. And my question to you is, do you expect more younger people to be out there? Because when I was in St. Pete, I didn't see too many young people. I don't know, maybe you guys saw that somewhere else.
I've seen, whenever I go to protests, I see a mixed age ranges. I see like people in their 60s to 70s, and I see, you know, young parents bringing their kids, and I see teenagers and college kids. So I've always seen a mix. I don't know if it's different in Pinellas County.
Yeah, because I listen to Tampa radio too, like WMNF, but listening to Chicago radio, you know, or even the national shows, which I call it sometimes, it's people over 40. I know they're on social media, but I mean, that's how, these people are going to be coming out next year. You know, if they have a complaint, you know, you got to get out there and vote.
Right.
And if you don't, you can't complain if you don't go out and vote. So stay tuned on that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So thank you so much for calling, Eduardo. Yeah. And then, too, a lot of times people have protests in the middle of the week, and I can't do anything in the middle of the week except work and go home and sleep. So that may be hindering a lot of younger folks that Eduardo has not seen. Let's see. But No Kings protest is on Saturday. DeMarco just sent me a GIF, and it is the brainworm driving an apple, and he says, my other car is RFK Jr.'s brain. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And yet we have RFK Jr. just totally wrecking our public health system. So any thoughts on that? Oh, remember how we were trying to say Charlie Kirk and we had to be really careful because we kept saying Charlie Crist?
Yes. Talk about a Freudian slip.
Yeah. Guess who's running for mayor in St. Petersburg?
Are you serious?
Yeah. I saw that last night.
Can he just give it a rest already?
No. He can't.
Why? Why?
It's that old, I love me, I need attention, and I don't.
It's like 77-year-old Janet Mills is running for the Senate in Maine.
Right, and you know why.
I know why.
Yeah,
we all know why.
Tell us why, because our listeners don't know why.
So, Graham Plattner is a younger person. I believe he's in his early 50s. He is a U.S. Marine vet, and he is endorsed by Bernie Sanders, and he does not take AIPAC money. I think I pretty much hit the highlights right there.
There you go. And so the powers that be, including Emily's list, got behind the 77-year-old candidate. Not that 77 is too old to run for office, but it's just awfully convenient that this career politician has now jumped into the race when there was a progressive candidate already in. So make of that what you will. All right, hold on. Let's see. Here's
Charlie Crist is running for mayor of St. Pete.
Yeah. I haven't confirmed that, but it was published last night. So unless that information was incorrect, let's just say Charlie Crist is allegedly running for mayor of St. Pete. Okay. So somebody says, what about the slavery of immigrants could now be going on under ICE's direction? What about the slavery of immigrants? I don't understand the question. Slavery of immigrants could now be going on under ICE's direction. I don't understand the question, so maybe if you call in and explain what you mean, because, yeah. Let's see. Here's one that will incite some action. These No King events are a complete joke. Lazy Americans crying because they didn't show up when it mattered. Like children who only choose to do the right thing after being punished. What do you make of that, Maria? That's, yeah.
Honestly, I was actually kind of thinking the same thing. Not exactly. I mean, I do hate the fact that for the most part, people don't take action until it absolutely shows up on their doorstep.
Yes.
And I think that that's a frustration that I have personally with what's happening right now. Right. And I think that that's the tragic part. I personally am not I think, for some people going to rallies, whether it's No Kings or whatever, they feel good about it. But I really want to encourage people to take the next step.
Yes.
And when I say next step, that means get involved, talk to your neighbors about the issues, register young people to vote, talk to young people and encourage them and have a dialogue with them about the issues and sort of carry that beyond marching in the streets, because we got to be marching into these voting booths for as long as we continue to have them, because I don't even know if we're going to have them for much longer.
Right.
And I know people say that a lot, but we're looking at a Supreme Court case that will completely dismantle the last vestiges of the Voting Rights Act right now. And if we are not careful, we will be a majority of people ruled by a minority. And it's because more than half of us are not voting at all. Everywhere.
And why do you think that is? It's not solely because
because we have people like Janet Mills primarying people that actually listen to our voices.
Yes.
and have taken the brave and bold step of stepping up and actually wanting to represent people that elect him.
Right.
Or, I mean, it's really, really frustrating. Like part of, like a lot of this rests at the feet of Citizens United for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we just took the money out of politics.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that we are seeing, and you got a lot of these people not giving it a rest with respect to, elected office. It is not them. Like, I am sure that a lot of these people just want to go retire to their beach house, right?
Right.
But they can't because the moneyed interests are propping them up because they are the last stronghold for them. Younger people coming into office are not playing the game of money and politics like that.
Right. If you took the money out of politics, you wouldn't see 90% of the stuff that's going on right now. DeAndre's circling back. Hey, DeAndre.
Hey, that explains cryptocurrency in a nutshell, because it's dark money at the end of the day. You don't have to know who it belongs to or who it came from, but that's like pushing itself into the future. But the reason why I called is because I sent that text message. It's being suggested that there are people, immigrants, who've gone missing.
Oh, yeah.
And then, as well, they're basically ending up in a cycle of slavery and human trafficking.
Right.
As a result, where they're kicked out before they're paid for their work.
Exactly.
So, just because of this question of their citizenship. As human beings, they should have rights. And that, unfortunately, that is seeming to be pushed aside by the Epstein issue, where they should be both addressed,
right,
at the same time, amongst other things. There are lots of things, but it's just about the news cycle and how much energy the Supreme Court has. If we need more Supreme Court appointed persons, which we can't talk about right now, but yeah, so.
All right. Now I understand. Yeah, the United States is now officially the biggest human trafficking agency that I think there exists, because they're even deporting citizens or detaining citizens. So
yeah, it makes it. We're there. They're like, if something big happens, any bigger happens, I can't even go any further, because I don't want to be further surprised this week or today.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Have a great day.
Thanks, DeAndre. But yeah, it's like, what, are we going to have to start walking around with our passports in our pockets now? Especially if we look ambiguously,
brown.
Exactly. Are you from this country? It's like, how bizarre is that you're born and raised in the United States and you get questioned by ICE because they have a suspicion that you are an immigrant.
Based on the color of your skin.
Based on the color of your skin.
The Supreme Court said that they can stop you. Meanwhile, if you are, from Eastern Europe, hanging out in Miami,
yeah,
you're not suspicious at all, right?
Beautiful blonde girls. Yeah. No.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it all boils down to racism and xenophobia, and misogyny is down the list, but not that far. So this is a problem that we're seeing everywhere. No place is safe in the United States, but particularly Democratic cities are not safe, because Trump is trying to militarize the whole process. And so it's like, you got people like the governor of Louisiana is like, yeah, send the troops here. And I don't see troops going there. So it's like, okay, wait, they want troops. Send the troops to where the people want them, and then let them be happy with that. Don't send them where they're not wanted. Particularly, I mean, this ICE thing is absolutely just the most horrifically put together thing. They offer like a signing bonus. They recruit from police departments.
Listen, not gonna lie. Like, I have a mentee. She's a school teacher in Chicago, and we talk about this all the time, right? You got school teachers with tens of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. I say we all just become ICE agents.
Now, that's an idea.
Like,
if we all do the
you talk about flood the zone, let's flood the zone.
Wow. That's very creative. I hadn't even begun to, but the problem is you'd have to get everything lined up immediately or quickly, because there's so many of the bad actors that to flood them with good actors would be difficult. But I guess if you're, wow, this is getting deep.
You know what? I think everybody that's planning on going to a No Kings rally, go for it. Apply, become an ICE agent.
We're not endorsing action here. We're spitballing, things that could happen. But yeah, that absolutely is correct. Somebody wrote in and said the Nobel Peace Prize hasn't meant anything since 2009. I imagine that's when Obama got it.
Well, okay, but there, even before then, Henry Kissinger got the Nobel Peace Prize. So let's just not fool ourselves into thinking some of it is probably aspirational, but it's all definitely political. Aung San Suu Kyi, who has imprisoned when she became president of Myanmar. She was eventually jailed and thrown out of office, and she won a Nobel Peace Prize. And she was imprisoning people as well. So, yeah. I mean, there's never been a time where that has not been a political statement on behalf of the Nobel Committee.
Right. And I mean, you think of all the years that they overlooked women, the lady,
and it's funny because when they do award women, they are the most questionable of the ones that they award it to.
Yeah.
So they could have awarded it to Greta Thunberg.
Right. They absolutely but they didn't. Yeah. So that's, when you're talking about, some of these big honors like Nobel Peace Prizes mean absolutely nothing and haven't for many, many years prior to 2009. Let's talk about something fun. The Time, I believe, published a picture of Trump and oh my gosh, you have to go and Google it up. It displays his turkey neck in full, 360 degrees pretty much, and he hit
one of my friends did not describe it as a turkey neck, however, which is why I laughed out loud.
Some people have likened it to female vulva. So anyway, Frank just gave me the finger, and that means it's time for us to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining us on Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. Please stay tuned for our economic update.
stunning. I like shining. I like $1 million
Recording
deals.
stopped.
Where's my pen? Bitch, I'm signing. I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like socks. I like going to the Tula. I put rocks all in my watch. I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving